Hello, hello, everyone. Thanks for being here. It's your host, Ted, aka Ted's Little Dream. Very happy to be here today with you guys and just gonna kind of show you some of like behind the scene and concept or how to create some fun art with generative AI that's provided by Adobe tools. But first, let's show you my artwork. My name's Ted, so this is your first time being here. This is some of my artwork. I'm a digital artist based in San Francisco. So this is our kind of like the fantasy, surreal dreaming art that I make, right? So if you're like me, like to create, but having a difficulty to travel around the world to take pictures, right? Where do I capture the cloud flamingo in the sky? Usually I spend a lot of time Adobe Stock just looking for the right image or 3D modeling, trying to see like how can I find something to use for my artwork, right? But luckily we have Fireflies and Photoshop Beta to show you all the cool thing that we can create with it. So I'm gonna give you guys a quick peek what we're gonna be creating in later of the stream today. So it's gonna be this fun concept art that I did just using like a roll highway roll lamp light. I forgot what is it called, and creating like a surreal double exposure kind of playful way with the video. So we gotta be doing that. But that's jumping to Adobe Firefly, right? You can also just go on to firefly.adobe.com and type in a prompt. But let's say hi to the chat real quick. Hey, good to see you guys. If you come in the chat and let me know where you guys are watching from, because like for me it's like 10 in the morning, so it's like super early. So I'm very excited to start my day. Yeah, hey, good to have you guys here. Okay, so but it's actually kind of also funny. Like I always have problem like coming out with like the prompts and word, but luckily I practiced this before, so we're gonna type like highway light pole, and we're just gonna be like testing and playing around with some of the new feature, which is like structure reference and style reference, right? So this two right here, it is the first time you're using it. Check it out. There's a really fun tool. But don't worry, I'll show you how it works, right? Changing from Ireland, that is so cool. I want to go there. 1 p.m. Montreal. Wow, amazing. That's fun. You guys went everywhere. Okay, so as you can see, right, when I type in highway light pole, like this is like not something I had in mind, Like what I have in mind is something kind of more of like this, right? The roll in the light pole. But this is what we got, like kind of like a security cam, like very confusing, but don't worry, right? And this is where the structure reference coming. So you just double click. This is like the photo I'll be using. So it doesn't really matter if you use like an actual PNG photo photography or structures line, because Firefly is gonna follow through. But for me, just kind of like easier to give you an example, like if you can find a photo reference to use, right? That you can actually hand draw some stick figures or sketches, and you can use that as a reference to tell Firefly, like, hey, generate something that is following the outline that I want it to look like to be. So we're just gonna put on here, and we're gonna turn the strength all the way up. And changes on setting, content type, you can change between art and photo. Personally, I like to use photo, and the aspect ratio, I put portrait mode 3:4. It's just easier to export social media, right? Like you can use it for Instagram Reels, TikTok, or you can do like Instagram posts or even on Twitter. And we gotta go on here. Um, Popular effects right here is just kind of tell like what kind of styles you want to use for fireflies to generate. I personally always go for hyper realistic, so I always have that on check. But some people like different things. So you can see like, oh, where did it go? Oh, right here, effects. Oops. So moments, like there's like the different movements. So minimalism is also actually pretty cool. I saw some graphic designer using lately, which I'll show you. Something I tested out yesterday. It's pretty fun. So we're gonna stick with that, and color and tone, lighting, camera angle, which is gonna leave it alone. But you can see you can change to like a cool, warm tone, black and white. Lighting, you can do like sunset, dramatic, golden hours, or anything you want. Camera angle is also like you can do close up, like high angle, and anything you can think of, they have down here. So we're gonna hit generate again and then just let it load. Structure and reference image are fun. I know, right? Like, have you guys tried like using like something like completely different and just like get like a really, really cool result? I mean, like trying to figure out like what would be a better way to use for styles, because that very sometimes I pretty random. Oh, this actually comes a really good result. I really like it. So we're gonna download this just in case. So gonna be like saving it. I really like that. So it's actually turned out really cool. And then from there, right, you can kind of like figure out like there's this little edit button right here. So you can generate fill to like clean out some part of the image, or you can generate something similar. Or you can even use it as a structured reference, which what we just did with the black and white photo. And there's also you can use for style reference. So you probably be wondering like, what is style reference? Like, what does it do, right? So for example, if we want to use this photo that I found on Adobe Stock, which is like the free section. So you can just go on Adobe Stocks and then there's like the free sections right here. And you can like find any assets to use to like kind of generate like a similar direction that you want to go with. So basically I'll just like, if I pull in this night photo right here, we're gonna test in just a half of the strand intensity and just like hit home. It should be able to generate image that look closer to the tone and the feeling of it. So we got let it render and take some time. It's loading. It should be done soon. But it's like, oh, 10 a.m. in California. Same, same. That's where I am. Oh, Iceland. Oh my God. I want to go to Iceland so bad. There's like the beautiful, amazing, like Northern. Is it Northern Light in there? I think it's at Iceland, right? But anyway, it's beautiful there. I see a lot of like cool landscape. Okay, so you see like what it does is like kind of like generating the similar mood and tones on there, right? So if I throw in this photo right here, and let's see if we generate it again. So this one is more of like just kind of like this more simple image with like a warm light tones and then blue sky, right? So kind of like give you a very basic idea of how the style reference works, Firefly, right? So this is like kind of like the vibe and creative direction that I kind of want to go with. Obviously there's a light, but it's like those are easy fix. But composition wise, I actually pretty like it. So I'm gonna save it. And then we're gonna try use generated, and we're gonna use it as a structured reference, and then just to see if it's gonna change anything. So basically, it's gonna copy that image structure reference how everything look like, and then gonna generate it similar for us. And hey, Andrew, hey Nate, no, everybody wants to go to Iceland. Nobody actually goes to Iceland. I think like there was actually a few years ago, there was a lot of travel photographer and influencer that went to Iceland that took a lot of photos. That's kind of like what put it onto my bucket list. It's just like, oh, I want to go to there. There's so many like beautiful landscape and stuff. Okay, so yeah, so you can see like it generated that image based on the we use this as a reference and it's holding that as the structure. So it's like generating very similar stuff. But now if I use this one, right? So this is the one which is generated earlier. We use that as a style reference and then just kind of see what's going to happen. I'm just going to show you real quick and then we're going to jump into Photoshop beta, right? It's like some of you are probably like, okay, I'm like pretty expert with Firefly, so I won't take out too much of your time. Generating. Oh, you been right? So this is actually really cool. So it's using sampling the structure reference of this and then using like the style reference of that to generating something like, pretty realistic, I would say. I like this one. So I'm gonna save this. I know the light looks a little bit off, but it's okay. We're gonna pin over it, so you probably won't really notice that. So well, I was browsing on internet like a few days ago, and I saw this like really, really cool way to use for typography. Obviously, there is type font. You can use like type to generate different kind of like styles and characters, right? But what learned is that if I create a black and white like kind of like image like this to use as a structured reference, and then I use Fireflies to generate kind of like the objects and subject that I want to filter into the font, right? And by playing around with the prompt, this is not gonna work in just like one go. You might have to try a few times, which if you guys want to see it, we can like try it right now too. So it generates something like this for me, right? Obviously, you can use text to generate on here on Firefly, right? You can create your own font for it. But I thought it's like a pretty interesting way for like a quick graphic design mockup or something. Just like, hey, I want to do like I don't have coffee beans with me. I don't have the type on, but you can create something like that. So I thought that was like really interesting. So yeah. And we're gonna jump into Photoshop beta to show you like some of the cool feature that's on there. And there's also a styles reference, well, image reference on there that work slightly different, but similar to how this one works on Firefly. So you're gonna open up your Photoshop beta. And for those of you who don't have Photoshop beta or don't know where it is, you can just open your Creative Cloud app and you can go to beta And you can find all this beta program to like play with, right? So I'm using the Photoshop beta, which when you open it, you'll notice that there's some like few new buttons that's a run. First, the taskbar, right? You see under here, it says import image or generate image, right? So it's like a new feature that come out about like 2 weeks ago. So pretty much you can just generate any image you want. So if we type in, let's see. Let's go here. So if you don't see this right here, it's totally fine too. You can just click this icon right here. It does the same thing. And you just type giraffe wearing sunglasses. It's actually works pretty similar as like Firefly Model 3. Um Also you can find this is like a pump right here, right? So I can just like use that one. You can click this any of example and it will give you like a prompt and then the style that you use. We're not gonna use 3D model. Photo will be like the style I want to go with. Reference image is the same way you can just see like, hey, what kind of styles and like, image you want to go with. We're gonna leave it alone for now. And effect is the same as the style, right? So there's all this cool thing that I showed you guys earlier on Firefly Model 3. Hyper realistic is right here. But there's also all these other one you can choose. So we're gonna click generate. So basically it's just like having a Firefly in Photoshop, right? So you don't have to go between different apps, or if you just want to run Photoshop, you don't want like Google Chrome in the background. This will save you a lot of like time and stuff, you know. Look at that Henson giraffe. So to say if everyone wants to go to, oh, so we're still talking about Iceland. Maybe we need to make some art about Iceland. That'd be really cool. So yeah, so basically you can generate anything. It's just like Firefly Model 3. It's pretty fun, right? And then if you go click L, right, or select, it's like basic right here, this tool, the lasso tool. And let's say if we select the sunglasses and you want to replace it, right? You used to could just like do generative fill. You can click generative fill and you can type in like, hey, give me a different sunglasses, right? And then you have the options on the right side with the properties. You can pick like which sunglasses you want. But what if there's like a specific sunglasses you want to do, right? So let's hop on back into Adobe stocks, and we can just plus sunglasses. Let's see, or you can generate any sunglasses you want to. And then I'm just gonna use photos. So it's like for me, this is like an easier, faster way to like find like a pretty cool reference, right? So we're just gonna like pick this one. Let's say, oh, I like the hard sunglasses, which I already have like a example saved. So we're gonna pop back into Photoshop, and then we're gonna do reference image, choose image, select the sunglasses, and then type sunglasses. And we're gonna generate to see if it will replace it to the style we want or not. Let's see. It's generating. Right. So this is actually really cool. So I would say like for retouching, like maybe like I'm curious actually be using this method in like actual work of like retouching, right? So for example, like if you take a photo of the product of like the model wearing the product, like can you replace it with the other photo of the product since if you forgot to take the photo, right? So I really want to see someone use it in their workflow just to actually demonstrate like, oh yeah, this actually will work. But if you zoom into like the detail, everything looks like really good, and then it does following like the style we drop in. So this is like the actual photo that we use. So it's pretty much like very simple, right? So I was just like, it works really well, and you can do like another retouching and clean up for it. But for me, it looks pretty good. Now you have a giraffe wearing the sunglasses that you pick. Also, you notice that when you do the generative fill, you see when you have move your mouse, hover the image right here, you see this little like arrow pointing up. So what it does is that it enhances the detail of the thing that's generated. So we're gonna try this here. It looks pretty sharp for me on here already, but we're gonna click it again and see if it make it sharper. It might be a little bit hard to see on the screen, but I could totally tell the difference. So this is before and this is after, Jared with something. Yeah, now some earrings, right? That's gonna be so cool. So this is just kind of like a one way to show you guys what reference image works on here. Kind of slightly different than the style reference and then the structure reference on Firefly, right? So now you can, have all these different possibility of things that you can do with the tool. So it's pretty fun. And I've been figuring out like a way to use it to like, for example, like in my digital art composite, I have like a smaller like person adventuring in this like a bigger room of like environment, right? So sometimes I do want to change like their clothes and then like the stuff they're wearing. It's pretty cool to use like a reference image with a similar angle generated with like Fireflies or Photoshop Beta, and then use that as a reference to overlay on the top of it. So it's pretty fun. But let's jump back to what I promised you guys earlier. What we're gonna be doing is to create a quick generate a concept with the street light, right? So what we can do is just drag in this PNG that I have already, which you can also find these on Adobe stock, but we're gonna just do this one right here. But we can also import in some of the image we have earlier. So I'm gonna just drag them all over here just to see what are some other things we can do, And let me resize them. Just Control T. Oh, the hotkey. So out of these three photo, I already know which one I like the most. So I'll say if this is one, this is two, and this is three, which one do you guys like better, right? Obviously, I like one because just, it's a better sunset photo in the background. But two is coming close to it as like generate our concept. It does have a better perspective. Three is more simple, so you'll be focused more on what we're gonna do, right? So for in the chat, let me know. Okay, so popping here, right? So if you just imported this photo, right, or any photo right here, you can see there's like remove background options you can click. So what you do is that if you remove background, right, and then you say, okay, you see these new options right here, edit a background or generate background or import a background. So basically, like you can see the demo right here. Like for example, if you have like a product shot, you can just remove the background and then add anything else in there. So like personally, I thought like this is really cool because like back in the day, I have to like masking everything and then find like a better background and generate it. But now we can just do something like this. So we're gonna generate a background here. Let me move the taskbar a little bit higher and let's just type maybe blue sky, and see if it works. And then we can see if we need to use any reference image to create a better sky or we can find something good. You've seen this lamp post somewhere? Probably, yeah. It's just like a fun concept. It's not like a unique, it's not like original concept. It's a concept that's been using in many different way. A painter, an illustrator did one was really cool. It was like a person holding like a paintbrush. So it's like painting the light onto the ground. Mine just like easier, just like want to show you like, hey, if you want to try something and then you don't have all the assets, you can actually create a video version of this, which is pretty fun. So we're gonna generate again to see if we can get something else we like, or we can just use the other one we made earlier, which is like pretty cool. Mm-mm. So all this new fun tool, we cover the structured reference, we cover the style reference on Firefly, and then we have generate image, generating background, the agency. So all this new tool just coming out, and it just keep coming, which is like super exciting, right? It's like, it'll be really cool, like in a bit, maybe cool, maybe not. I don't know. Just like feed all my image to Firefly, just like, hey, generate something whoa, based on my art. I don't know what that was about, but that was pretty interesting. But yeah. But yeah, let's pop into here. We can also use this. So that's oh actually, you know what? I wonder if I could generate wait. Oh, okay. So this is the other thing I'm gonna try to do. If I use because I want to see if I can generate reference as the background that we created earlier. That's a this is the style, right? It's just gonna be like um sky landscape photo nature and sky. I just want to see if, because like there's no generate style reference in the beta yet. But then what if I select the whole canvas and use that as a generative? But then we might have to rematch the line. Okay, that didn't work. I think it's more works as like a subject. Okay, I see how it goes. Yeah, it's good to try it out. I just want to see like if that will work or if that would not work, right? So we just gonna use this one as our thing, right? Technically, one composite wise will be fun. And then from here, I'm gonna see if I could select subject if it will pick it up or not. But if not, it's gonna be oh, it does. Photoshop, you're amazing. Just like pretty simple to let's see. Okay. And what we're going to do is maybe I'll do masking out real quick, duplicate it. It just like kind of like give me a better. I just want like a top layer of it. And from there, we could just create using the lasso tool again, but we can use Shift L to switch to a different tool, or you can just right click on here and you can see polygon lasso tool. Basically, just create like a straighter line for us to pop something like that, right? And then, sorry, we'll create another group, Control G using this and invert it back. So I have something like this, right? So it's kind of like creating that silhouette that we want to have this. And from here, obviously, like if this is a like, so for example, let's see, if this is like a different photo that we have on the bottom, right? Um, Obviously the light shouldn't really be that like super sharp. You see the edge right here, right? And then what would be like an easier and faster way to do? All you can do, just click the layer mask again, and then you see this like feather. You can just turn down the feather on the mask, or you this like density too. For me, it's just like easier. Can you like create something like this, right? And then probably do a softer brush on here. Oh, the other way, sorry. And I'll create an other layer. And then change the blending mode to screen and press B as a brush, hold O to simplify the color and kind of create like the glowing on the top. But you can also do a fading like that. Oop. So, whoops, sorry. There you go. The other cool way that you can do is like my personal favorite, which I showing in one live stream before, is that how do you create like a realistic light shining by just like using paintbrush? It's like a glowing effect, right? So what you want to do is changing your blending mode to screen, and then press B. So choose any color you want, right? So for example, if this is the light that's gonna be glowing, we can do like this. And you want to press B, press your brush, use 30% right here, opacity. So you kind of want to think about like 30%, clicking like that. And then you small down, like bring the brush size a little bit smaller, and then keep brushing in the middle. So kind of like doing that glowing. And then you can also swap back to the white on the color right here. So kind of like creating this opacity of like different glowing, and you can switch in between the color, right? And then just like brushing in there for the final glowing. So this is kind of like creating like a nice realistic glowing sunlight, or like, lamp or anything you want to use, right? So for example, if we just move that back onto the top of it and then reduce the opacity down there, it also kind of looks like, oh yeah, it is the glow from the road lamp, right? So it's pretty cool. Oh, we have only a few minutes left. Okay. So basically what you want to do is, for example, this is what I'm going to be using. I'm going to save this as a PNG right here. Where are you, PNG? Da, 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 da. We're going to save that as a PNG. And then we're going to pop back into Adobe Express. There's many other files. So this is like a test image that I just did. So if I just hide this right here, and then maybe I can just bring in our PNG that we worked on just now to here. Oh, and then move it to here, right? And what you want to do is that you could also go into media right here on Adobe Express, search a video. So they have a whole library that you can access to use for. So we're just gonna do like we can do like a sunset video. You can find one, or actually maybe a blue sky since it is sunset, right? So I'm just gonna type clouds and then look for like a cool assets, like a cloud movement, maybe something like, and let's do something like that. And then you can just drag it, make it bigger to fit the silhouette, and then just drag it underneath the there that we just created. Oh, is that a PNG? Sorry. I made a tiny mistake. I didn't make it to a PNG. There is a background underneath it. So let me fix that real quick. Rookie mistake. Okay, we have like 2 minutes or something. I think I can make it. Da 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 da. Replace. Yes. I was like, why is it not working? I was like, oh, okay, but it's okay. I caught it right away. So we'll drag this back to PNG. That should work, right? And then let me delete that one. and put this one back onto here. Voila, it is working. There is a black line. I don't know what that was, but basically you get an idea of like what it does. So I'm just gonna turn this one off to kind of show you guys of an example of what it would look like with the PNG on Adobe Express that you can import the video from the library and then kind of like create a different video on here and you can press play and it kind of like give you idea of how this worked. I just got moved right there. And then you can export this video to your desktop or social media, right? So okay, cool. Whew, we hit it under before the time is up. Yeah. So this is how pretty much I create the same idea and concept, but obviously I use real photos and then I kind of use Adobe Express to find the video I want to use and post on there and use the cable light to separate the layers so make it more dynamic and more dramatic with like different realms and ideas, right? So this is how you do it. Yeah, and the time is up, I believe. So thank you guys for being here. And then stay tuned for the next session. We have complete post-processing workflow in Lightroom and Photoshop with Jake, right? So I think that's pretty much it. Am I correct? Oh, we still have a few more minutes. Then we can. Oh, we're good? Okay. Thank you guys.